Everybody, I'm Martha McCallum in New York, and this is the story as it plays out tonight across America. President Trump's first term bookended by calling out carnage in America. Here he is today announcing a surge of federal law enforcement officers that will go to Chicago and Albuquerque for now, perhaps more places later, followed by the words of two Americans who lost innocent loved ones to this violence.
No mother should ever have to cradle her dead child in her arms simply because politicians refuse to do what is necessary. For this reason, today, I am announcing that the Department of Justice will immediately surge federal law enforcement to the city of Chicago.
Children are supposed to be our future, and our 4-year-old son didn't make it to kindergarten. I stand here today as a mother fighting against violence for my son, Legend.
Every time I go to bed, every time I go out into the driveway, that memory comes back, and it haunts me.
Their stories were haunting today at the White House. The president's push in this effort harkens back to what some talked about in his inaugural address as a dark side of America. Remember this?
Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, crime, and the gangs and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
So now on the cusp of a new election and a new wave of carnage that followed an economic surge, flattened by the virus, economic distress, and now civil unrest. Individuals like this man and woman are making their demands on their government quite clear after they witnessed last night 15 people shot and wounded in their Chicago neighborhood. Listen to their words.
We thought it was a war out here.
The violence that's continuing day in and day out, weekend, little children, and it's just unnatural that all this violence like we're literally in a war zone. We need more cops and federal troops because it's literally like we're in Iraq or something.
He said it's unnatural, this violence. We need more cops and federal troops in Chicago because it's like we're in Iraq or something. Some suggest that their problems are not real, that it's all being exaggerated for election year politics.
Sometimes when you analyze his moves and the words he uses and the decisions he makes, that we don't look at it as a play for votes per se. It might be. It also might be a play to just not leave. And it's something that a lot of people who know more about the rise of authoritarianism and things like it are looking at when it comes to this presidency.
And the New York mayor writes to the attorney general who laid out his battle plan for urban America today against the crime. And he said, "We do not consent. Do not send the proposed agents. They have proved to bring way more harm than good." In less than 4 months, Americans across this country will weigh in, and they, all of you, will decide on the next president. So tonight we talked to Raymond Lopez, a Democrat, Chicago alderman, and Gary McCarthy, the former superintendent of Chicago Police, who react to this new plan. And we begin tonight with Mr. Lopez. Thank you very much, sir. It's good to have you with us this evening. I want to start by playing this soundbite today from Mayor Lightfoot, who you have had a number of run-ins with. Here was her reaction to this plan.
That's not democracy that we saw unfolding on the streets of Portland as a result of this federal action. That's what we call tyranny and dictatorship. And we are not having it in Chicago.
What did you think when you heard that?
You know, it's unfortunate because the mayor has been going back and forth with the president who, you know, to be perfectly honest, I don't agree on many of his policies, but protecting our citizens should not be a partisan issue. As a Democrat, seeing my residents, seeing my families gunned down is not a partisan issue. And for her to go for weeks on end, tweeting back and forth and making all kinds of comments, and then finally admitting yesterday that she's open to having the FBI, DEA, and ATF come in, you know, those comments that she made, you know, remind me of how many lives were lost because of the politics of grandstanding in the city of Chicago.
You know, it's interesting. I think a lot of people, you first got on their radar when that audio leaked of one of the meetings that you had with the alderman and the mayor. But what I noticed when I went back and looked at it today was that you were pretty much right on target about what was about to happen. Let's play that.
My fear is once they're done looting and rioting and whatever's going to happen tonight, God help us, what happens when they start going after residents? I want an answer. It's not something you ignore. This is a question that I have.
I think you're 100% full of what I think. If you think
no offense, then.
Wow. I mean, you know, I don't know what is going on between you two, but why is she so upset when it's suggested that something should be done to make these city streets safer in Chicago?
Well, I think part of the problem that the mayor has with me is that I run contradictory to the narrative that she keeps trying to portray, that she's in charge, she's in command of the COVID situation, the violence, when it's clearly obvious, not only to the residents of Chicago, not only to myself, and I'm sure to our former superintendent, but to the entire nation, that our city's in chaos and in turmoil. And when I can tell the mayor that, you know, I've addressed these issues in my ward. My ward is like the microcosm of the city of Chicago. We have poverty, we have working class people, we have gangs, we have violence, and we were able to make significant gains in reducing those crime stats year after year prior to this administration. You know, that message hurts her image, hurts her personally because of her micromanaging style. And unfortunately, that level of pettiness is causing disaster in the city of Chicago right now.
So what is your, you know, we have pictures of, you had your home was broken into, attacked, your office was also had shattered windows and glass. So you have been on the front line in this. But you're a Democrat. She's a Democrat. You know, who characterizes better where the people of Chicago are on this, if that's an assessment that can be made?
Well, I think, you know, obviously we're a city of Democrats, but we're a city of different kinds of Democrats. And I'm more of a middle-of-the-road kind of Democrat who believes that we can't have social justice, we can't have good relations with police, and we can't have good safety all in the same city. It is possible. We have done it in my ward. And unfortunately, too many politicians in my city and across this nation find it's easier to pander to the lowest common denominator in our societies as opposed to challenging people to believe and aspire for something greater. And I, for one, know that that can happen in our city again. We just have to start enforcing laws, targeting those individuals who will not change, helping those people who want to change, and knowing that we can do better moving forward.
Seems like a pretty reasonable message. Alderman Lopez, we thank you very much for coming on tonight. Good to speak to you, sir.
Thank you, Martha.